Hello again. This is Jon Cook, your instructor. I'm about to present to you a topic that's very close to me and is probably some of the most valuable information I can ever give you. So let's just begin. The acronym is PARS, Problem, Action, Results Statements. We can use PARS for selection decisions, both for employers and candidates, and a variety of other situations. Let's begin. An employer will use work analysis to develop job descriptions and job specifications and the bona fide occupational qualifications, the very core of what they need a person to do in a position. And the basis for that is the Department of Labor's ONET, or Dictionary of Occupational Titles. They'll use their ONET analyses to develop these critical documents to use for selection decisions. It'll drive the selection criteria for the committee, which is close hold, and then any vacancy announcement information they're willing to share either internally or to the public. What goes out to a intranet site, what goes out to a job posting, what are recruiters going to use? Well, a candidate is going to come back and parallel the selection criteria with their success statements, these problem, action, results statements, because what they have in common are skills. The verb-noun sets coming from the employer's analysis of ONET, and candidates can also get into ONET and do a similar analysis. So by having ONET as the basis for job descriptions, job specifications, and selection criteria, we can sort of meet in the middle and have in common the skills, the verb-noun sets. Well, these skills and verb-noun sets probably need a little more explanation. When you write a sentence, it's a subject, verb, and object of the verb. I led the team. If you drop the subject, I, because you actually did it, what's left is the verb and the object of the verb, the predicate, led the team. The predicate is a verb-noun set, which is a skill. So skills are verb-noun sets. Drove trucks, managed programs, controlled costs. Since we're using ONET as our centerpiece for the research, we can go into a variety of sections for a job description. We can look at tasks and skills and knowledge and all the other bits and pieces of ONET, and we can start pulling together these verb-noun sets. I picked one task from Human Resource Manager's description, and you can read it there. Prepare and follow budgets for personnel operations. Have you prepared budgets? Have you followed budgets? A verb-noun set. We go into skills. We pick up a combination of verbs and nouns. Normally starts with a noun. Management of personnel resources. Well, we get a verb. Have you motivated? Have you developed? Social perceptiveness. Have you been aware of others' reactions? Employers can start building their selection criteria off of the job description and job specifications. So you can vary it up a bit. You may not use the exact same words. Shown here is just showing you some synonyms. If the critical verb-noun set, the skill is write reports, it could be write or wrote, drafted, edited, reports, or documents. Managed programs. Well, manage, controlled, supervised. programs, organizations, initiatives. Control cost. Control, controlled, manage, costs, funds, financial resources. So it may get varied up a little bit depending upon the organization and its context. But we're still getting down to skills as verb noun sets. Our readings in chapter 6 gives us the terms behavioral description, situational interview, a BDSI. A looser term for that is a situational interview. But if you're going to use this type of interview, it's going to need PARS. It's going to need skills, verb noun sets, and more. Let's find out. Are you ready for the question? Are you good at the skills that solve our problems? Now, they didn't ask you if you did it. They asked, are you good at it? They didn't ask you any skills. It's got to be skills relevant, aligned, connected, correlated to the target audience. Read it again out loud. Are you good at the skills that solve our problems? So what's your marketing pitch? What's your answer to the question? If it worked back then, it will work great now for you. Here are my examples. Selection officials, decision makers, they're all from Missouri. What's the motto of the state of Missouri? Show me. Your examples will get you hired. Can they see you doing the jobs? Can they hear you doing the job? So your marketing pitch is written right across the top. If it worked back then, it'll work great now for you. Here are my examples. I'm going to play a little finger game while we're not person to person right now. I'm going to display it, but you can play along with me. I'll coach you through. In the lower left is a left hand formed in the shape of an OK sign, and the thumb and first finger are touching each other. These are the employer's verb-noun sets, the skills, those job description tasks. Drive truck, manage people, control costs. On the right hand is the candidate's hand, and we're going to use all 5 fingers. Now, come along with me. Take your right hand, spread it out there, and here we go. It's a verb, but it's a verb in the past tense. Look at the marketing pitch. Been there, done that, do it for you. Slip the employer's, the decision maker's verb into the past tense so that you've been there, done that. They need somebody to type, you've typed. They need somebody to manage, you've managed. They need somebody to control, you've controlled. So it's the verb in the past tense. And then the noun. Have you controlled costs? Yes, I've controlled costs. Have you led teams? Yes, I have led teams. But don't stop, because remember, the question is, are you good at it? And do you have examples? So we're going to add numbers, results, and examples. So as you're counting down your fingers, it goes verb, noun, number, results, examples. Connected to the employer. Go ahead. Take your 2 hands, put your 4 fingers and thumbs together, make little circles, connect them together like railway cars coupling or links in a link chain, or just two loops connecting. And notice the connecting piece are the verb-noun sets. That's what you're going to do to connect back to the employer. Wow, PARS. Past tense verb, noun, number, results, examples. Always count them down on your fingers because you got to use them all when you're answering the question. If you want a decision maker to make a decision, they need decision information. Don't withhold anything. They need the verbs, nouns, numbers, results, and examples connected to them. PARS. During my years of experience, a number of people have used STARS, which is perfectly good. Love that too. Situation, task, action, result statements. As long as it's got the ARS, sounds like a pirate. Rs, okay. What I'm after, what I grew up with and use constantly is in PARS. It's the employer's problems, action, results, statements. So we start with the employer's problems, such as we need somebody to lead teams. We take the action verb and slip it to the past tense. Been there, done that, do it for you. Led teams. We add numbers. Numbers can be people, time or time frames, money, or things. Numbers make you credible. Of up to 20 people over the last 5 years. Then we add results. Sparkle words. Successfully, professionally, carefully, accurately. Which resulted in, which improved, which increased, which decreased, which enabled. And we use the term successfully. Have you led teams? Why, yes, I've led teams of up to 20 people over the last 5 years successfully. Let me give you my examples. Now, our reading has also given us some cautionary notes that we got to be careful with our verb-noun sets. Number one is we're going back to our being ethical and socially responsible. Don't use verbs and nouns you haven't actually done. But if you've done them, don't hide them. We can use the exact same verb-noun set, or we can use synonyms for them. But sometimes human resources departments use software. So if you look across the top, there's automated screening of applicant softwares or resumes and letters and applications. A few examples would be the Department of Defense, being part of the federal government, uses USA Jobs. And they use AView software. Hot Jobs actually bought out Resumix. Now, this software is very good, being loaded up with a job description, verb-noun sets, and then looking through documents to see if those verb-noun sets were used. It's kind of like being interviewed by the Terminator robot. Hi, I'm Arnold. I'm your resume screener. Have you written reports, yes or no? And it's going to look for wrote reports or write reports. And then it can maybe take some other documents. But the farther you drift from the original verb-noun sets in the one ad, vacancy announcement, your research, your informational interviewing, whatever you're using, what's the employer using? Can you get close to it? Legally, ethically, professionally. So, you ever been interviewed by the Terminator robot? You go to these databases for job banks. They're screening your resumes, looking for your verb-noun sets. Hi, I'm Arnold. Got the verb-noun sets? No, you're terminated. Well, back on task. Think PARS. Remember, it's verb, noun, number, results, example. So led teams of up to 20 people over the last 5 years successfully. That's the way we count down using our 5 fingers and mentally construct it. The next little bit of sophistication is, can you take the sparkle word that results and put it up front? We'll call it bluff, bottom line up front. Successfully led teams of up to 20 people over the last 5 years. Here are my examples. So think PARS, write bluff. You can also speak bluff. And this is where examples come in, because you're verbally painting a picture for them that you're good at the skills that will solve their problems because you've been there, done that, do it for them. If it worked back then, it'll work for you now. Why do you want somebody else? Successfully led up to 20 people over the last 5 years. Here are my examples. You may also be asked to do positive marketing examples. Watch this now. I'm going to turn negatives into positives. You can use this for interviewing techniques. Give me one good reason not to hire you. You may not want to hire me if you're looking for someone to be a yes person who always gets with the program. I believe I'm an ethical person who thinks of the long-term consequences and the triple bottom line, and may argue to be cautious of new schemes. It's got an example in there. It's got verb nouns. It's marketing your positive skills. Give me one good reason not to hire you. You may not want to hire me if you're looking for someone to just sit around all day filling a chair. I'm self-motivated to meet and set objectives and need a position where I can work towards accomplishing organizational goals. If you were a tree, what tree would you be and why? I would be an oak tree, as I'm strong, supportive, steady, protective, and assist others as acorns. And here's my example. As I explained before, you can use PARS for any number of selection decisions, both written and spoken. Think your way through this list here. Informational interviewing, when you're being asked by your professional contacts, tell me about yourself or tell me what you've done. Definitely during the hiring and selection interviews, just as we've been discussing here in this lecture. The dreaded annual performance reviews, not a problem. You're looking to write and explain to your performance evaluator your PARS, career development, promotions and awards, pay raises and incentives, scholarships, going to a financial institution for a loan or a mortgage, you're going to be using PARS. Anytime you have to answer the question, are you good at the skills that solve our problems? You now can use PARS. One of the tasks you have in your discussion boards is creating interview questions that are relevant to the position and then listing out what would be a really, really great answer. Shown in the column here is superior answer, what would be an average answer, and what would be a poor answer. Notice that when you start filling out the superior answer, it's going to be PARS. You're going to be filling out an aligned verb noun. You're going to be asking for numbers. You're going to be asking for results. You're going to be asking for examples. So when you're the interviewer, you're trying to listen to the candidate's PARS, or if you're looking at their applications, resume, cover letters, reference letters, any of the written material, you're looking and listening for PARS. An average answer or a poor answer is not PARS. It's missing elements. An average answer might have the verb noun, but it's got no numbers, results, or examples. A poor answer's not relevant. So you get to develop your questions, and then what would be a really great answer that you would accept for a superior candidate. Need some help developing some questions? I've got a handout for you, both in the additional information for this week and also attached to the web link for this lecture. You've got this handout. It's actually 2 sets of handouts on the 10 basic interview questions and some thoughtful answers in PARS, and then some really tough questions to answer. This is all free from your Uncle John. Thank you so much for your attention. Bye now.